Welcome to the French Drain Man channel. I'm Robert Sherwood, and I want to talk about our patented Duplex system. It's hurricane proof, tropical storm proof, it's Great Lakes of Michigan proof. We've tested it, we've ran it, and I'm here to report back. We've had so much feedback on our Duplex system. Now, everything about this sump pump system is patented. It has two pumps, and it leaves nothing to want as far as a homeowner and the security that it gives you. But first, I'd like to talk about how we ended up coming up with this design and layout just through necessity. I mean, isn't that the mother of all inventions, is necessity. So this is an indoor sump pump basin, and you guys probably seen them, you know, they're in the big box stores. The problem is they're tapered at the bottom. They get really narrow, all right? So people end up putting bricks and blocks in the bottom of these to raise the pump off the bottom so that they can get it in an area to where it's a larger diameter and it's displacing a little more water. It will reduce the runtime a little, but not very much. So let's go through the evolution of what all the contractors have been doing. I mean, 35 years, you know, my knuckles dragging on the ground as a contractor. I'm here to tell you, I was there and I was a part of it. So what we started doing is we started taking a, culvert pipe. And, we would do 15, 18 inch. Then we started going to 24 inch, even 30 inch. So we're digging a bigger diameter to try to cut down on cycle times. Now, why are we doing this? I'll tell you a couple of the big reasons. I mean, the benefits are long on this Duplex system. So let's start here. Instead of this pump sitting in this very small, tapered, shallow basin,
when you're trying to keep up with the fastest yard drainage pipe on the planet, the French Drain Man's high octane, manufactured by the Untitled Company, you need something better than an indoor sump basin. Look at how little water this displaces. Look at how small the bottom is. It tapers at the bottom. This makes the sump pump cycle on and off repeatedly until it wears out at the switch and fails, leaving you with a flooded yard, flooded garage, flooded sunroom. This is a failed experiment, guys. This is an indoor product made for the basement. It's not going to handle roof runoff water, sheet water off the roof, sheet water off the... Look at how flimsy it is. Geez, I mean, you expect a lawnmower to run over that? The French Drain Man's patented Duplex system. It has an extended chamber. It reduces the sump pump runtime by 80%. If you want to keep up with the fastest yard drainage pipe on the planet, you need a system that can keep up with it. If you're going to feed a sump system with the French Drain Man's high octane yard drainage pipe manufactured by the Baughman Tile Company, you better have a Duplex system that can keep up with it.
What happens, just a little bit of water in this basin, just a little bit, turns this on. It runs. Water goes down, it shuts off. Water comes back in. This keeps on going. This cycling, short cycling pumps. Now, this is also very expensive. Every time one of these pumps is fired up, literally right there, that startup, that's what you see when you look at your electric bill. You won't see the free running, okay? The initial startup is where all the expense is. That's where all the cost is when it comes to sump pump systems. So once you get that initial click, the sump pump is all wound now. It's spun up. It's brought up to a certain speed. It's effortless, and it doesn't take near as much energy to keep it, running. So the startup is where that cost is at. But here's another thing. Failure of a sump pump, it means a lot of things, depending on who you are and where your sump pump is. Whether it's a flooded sunroom, a flooded basement, a flooded crawl space, a flooded garage, or even a flooded backyard. We we're trying to reduce the amount of cycles that a sump pump would see, because 99 out of 100 replacements, 99 out of 100 failures of sump pumps are in the switch because of this short cycling. And why do we allow this to happen? I don't know. I'm a licensed builder. I've been working for 35 years as a contractor in Michigan. I'm proud of that. The people on the board have the ability to change the codes. And why we're letting something like this continue is beyond me. I have no idea why we're going to keep with this indoors and in crawl spaces. And this will pass inspection. Now, I'm here to tell you from experience, these are very weak. You're not going to be running them over with your lawnmower. That's why some contractors put them up against the house. I never put a sump system right up against the house, but the reason why these contractors do that are using this cheap piece of trash, because that's all it is, it's a cheap piece of garbage. You have to have cement all around it because it's so weak. If you run this over with your lawnmower, you're just going to crush it. I've even seen videos of guys, DIY, here, go to the big box store, buy this piece of garbage, and I'm going to show you how to use it for a yard drain, which is ridiculous. But they put them up against the houses for a couple reasons. One, it's less work for them. Two, it's not out in the yard where it's going to get crushed by a lawnmower. Now, these barely get the job done in basements and crawl spaces. And if you're somebody with an active sump system, you know what I'm talking about. You're putting blocks under here, you're trying to get this pump higher so that you could reduce the amount of cycles because you're going through sump pumps. And just the cycling might drive you nuts because perhaps your bedroom is right up above and it's just driving you nuts. So, okay, so then now we know that's what this is an indoor. This is not designed for sheet water off a roof, sheet water off a drive, sheet water off your neighbor's driveway, sheet water off a parking lot. It's a joke. It really is. This is a joke. So we've never used these outdoors, not once. Not one of my installs in my 35 years had an indoor basin outdoors. Now, I got caught up like everybody else in going to bigger and bigger diameter wells. And it's easy to get caught up into that. And then you're going deeper, you're trying to, be able to hold more water. And it's a mess, man. I've been down that road and there's really nothing gained. And it's a lot of hard work to dig a 5-foot deep hole. And then they're so buoyant that you have to put a cement bottom in them to keep them down. So I've been there, I've done that. Let's talk about my patented duplex system. And again, I gotta give a shout out to the men who helped develop. Tell you about this duplex system. So you got 2 pumps and you got this long chamber now. So instead of this small little bottom and this, now you fill up this entire chamber before the primary pump turns on. When the primary pump turns on, it'll cycle as needed, and it won't be too often because once it shuts off, you have to fill this chamber again. So what we basically did is we, out of necessity, realized the plan wasn't go vertical. The answers weren't larger diameter in a vertical well. It was horizontal. We needed a system with a horizontal chamber. So I got to thank the tradesmen at Baughman Tile Company and our partnership. The guys there that weld these things up, I mean, I've never seen a bad weld. We're talking quality, like, top notch. I mean, this is top shelf. So you have Boffman dual wall culvert pipe. Think about that. Think about what I just said. A culvert that a giant John Deere tractor drives over. Picture that. That's how strong this is. Trust me, your lawnmowers, you could, the boat trailer, I don't care what it is, the motor home, drive over it. It doesn't matter. You're not going to break it. This stuff was built to last. Unlike an indoor system that you're trying to band-aid and adapt to the outdoors. That is such a failed experiment. So we patented everything about this because I'm far enough in my career to where I could spend the money to get this where it needed to be so that we can build these. We build these. These are all like built right here in our shop. So by the very men who install them. So that's saying a lot. There's no way to do it any other way. I won't ship this to you in pieces where you got to plumb it and all. That's big with me. When I'm in need of something and I order something and it shows up at my door, and the first thing I got to do when I open up that box is look at a 6 or 10 step assembly. They're putting me to work. I bought it off of them. They saved money making it and manufacturing it because they didn't fully assemble it. And then they put me to work. So it meant everything to me to be able to ship a fully plumbed system right to your door. So this is what's great about this system. So you got your primary pump. One pump's going to turn on before the other. It's impossible to get them to turn on exactly at the same time. It's not going to happen. You're going to have your primary running. If your primary pump falls behind and the water continues to rise in this horizontal chamber, then your secondary pump turns on. If you lose your primary pump due to the thermo switch, now there's a lot of misconceptions out there. A lot of people, I hear them say things like, oh, the Liberty pump with its magnetic float, when it's underwater, it quits working. That's funny. But let's give Liberty the love they deserve. That's not what happens. They fall behind, so the water level in this piece of trash, because that's what that is, recycled garbage. So the water in that piece of trash gets higher and higher. And the pump is just working so hard that it finally gets so hot that the thermo switch shuts it down. These sump pumps are built with a thermo switch. That way you don't ruin your pump and just let it pump water until it burns itself up. So that's why you need a backup in your house. That's why you need a backup in your yard. That's why a duplex system makes sense. If that pump gets up to a temperature to where it's going to, turn off that pump to save itself from burning up, the thermo switch gets thrown. Now you got your secondary pump to lean on. A duplex system is the only thing that makes sense, especially when it means a flooded basement, a flooded crawl space, a flooded sunroom, a flooded garage, whatever it may be. And that it's really, user-friendly as well. So if you guys have any questions about our duplex systems, leave them in the comments section or email us at FrenchDrainman@gmail.com. All right, everybody, until that next video.